pass, the ball straight now.
Now which way to look.
Oh, gee! A Geelong player's gone now behind the plate.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Sports Cooler, brought to you by SportingMad.com.au. I'm Andy, this is James.
Good evening.
You can follow us on Twitter at SportingMadAU and on Facebook at SportingMad, so get on over there. We post a lot of articles, a lot of videos. What we want to do on the Sports Cooler, this is our first podcast, videocast in a while, James.
Yeah, it's been about a year, hasn't it?
I'd say it probably has been a year, yeah.
Least a year.
So we thought we'd get back on and talk about some of the things that interest us in the week of sport. We're also live on Meerkat, I should say, so if you've got Meerkat, get on there and get involved. Tell us what you think. Keep the language to it.
Be nice.
Well, do a reasonable pace if that's all right. All right, we're going to be with you for about 20-25 minutes. So this will be on YouTube. It'll be on sportingmad.com.au. It'll also be on Audio Boom and on the website, so we'll release this as a podcast as well. We're going everywhere. We're going to try and do everything so that we can get most people to listen.
Multifaceted approach.
Nice use of words, big fella.
Yeah,
nice use of words.
Get them in there. Word of the day.
Absolutely. All right, we got a fair bit to cover.
Yeah, it's been a weekend of sport.
It has.
Weekend of sport.
So for those of us that don't know our website as well, we're based in Melbourne. So for anyone who wants to love sport, you live in Melbourne. If you don't live in Melbourne, I'm sorry for you. So the weekend of sport here is incredible. It always is. We've got everything. So today we are gonna jump the ditch.
Yeah.
The other way, not New Zealand. We'll talk a little bit New Zealand stuff. We're gonna talk EPL.
EPL, yeah. Big weekend, final weekend of the EPL.
Yep.
Big stories come out of there. The AFL this weekend.
Your tips ruined?
I had 6.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I did not get 6. I'll be honest with
you. Wasn't too bad.
Not even close. Not even close. Talk a little bit of Formula 1.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton's big story for the week. His Mercedes team let him down with some poorly chosen tactics and poorly.
And we'll come to him in a minute, but Jesus, he's a suck. Yeah. I've never seen a kid want to cry more in his life.
They cost him the win. I think.
I'm sure his 15 million a year salary was sorted out.
I think he's on a bit more than 15 million a year.
We're going to talk a little bit of cricket. We've got. We want to talk about Jason Gillespie and how the Aussies are probably going to lead the English, which has always got to be good. The Aussies as well. Kind
Super
of a
Rugby.
mixed week, would you say?
Yeah, Super Rugby is this year's comp. I'm loving it. It's a lot more open than it's been.
It has
in the past.
It has, and there's some pretty good. Some pretty good footage of so-called superstars this week as well, which we'll talk a little bit later. As well as that, we've got the Aussies in the NBA really doing up a storm. So we've got Dellavedova and Bogut just killing it in the playoffs. So we'll talk a little bit later about them, but they're in good form and on track to play each other in the final, which I'll be honest, I like my basketball. I'm not all over it, but I'm pretty sure that it's been a long time, if ever, that two Aussies have played each other in the NBA finals. So we'll see where we go.
Well, that's one for the stats fans. Maybe they can let us know.
Yeah, that's a fair question. So on the Twitter, if you can, or for you guys out there on Meerkat, if two Aussies have played each other in the NBA finals right now, James is just going to post something up. Let me know if they've played before. All right, onwards and upwards. James, EPL this week, final day of the season.
Final day. I think the biggest story is Hull going down. I think that was the only real outcome left to be determined on the final day of the season, was the final relegation slot. QPR Burnley already down, and it was between Hull and Newcastle.
Okay, can I just say, Jesus, I wanted Newcastle to go.
I think a lot of people.
I know there's a lot of people out there who like Newcastle, but they have done nothing for me in the last. Have they done anything in the last 10 years?
Look, there was the supporters staged a sit-in protest after the match. They had the banners against Mike Ashley. 8 years, going nowhere was the banners. And
is it 8 years?
Yeah, he's they say he's not invested in the squad. He has invested in the squad.
He's just invested terribly.
But it's the managers who invested terribly, not him. He's put the money up. But
so, hold on, how long did he give Pardew? He gave Pardew an 8-year contract.
7-year contract.
7.
Yeah.
So luckily, Crystal Palace paid for a bit of that.
Yes, yeah.
To get him out.
But he's just running it as a business, He's just like he'll bring in a player from France for 2 million, and when he gets a 10 million offer later on next year, he'll flog him on again.
Can you run it as a business though? Football can't be run as a business, surely. It's passion.
It's the way it is now.
And the Newcastle fans are all lunatics.
Yes, yeah, and I think that they staged their protest and said it's going to be the same again next year unless something's done. So what do we look at? I think the main thing is Hull going down.
Yeah,
like, felt sorry for them. They were up against it as it was, playing Man United in the final game of the season.
So I heard a stat today that Steve Bruce has not beaten a Man United side in his 21 attempts as a manager.
That's a big stat.
Now I'll be honest with you, I could have made that up. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I heard it.
That's one for the stats fans again.
I'm positive I heard it.
Yeah, like it's Hull, I don't know if you watched the game, but Hull had chances to score the goals, and it was almost like the refs wanted them to stay. There was 8 minutes of injury time.
I didn't see that.
I know Fellaini got sent off for an absolutely disgusting challenge on Paul McShane, which left.
Look, I've said this before when we've talked about this. Yeah. I'm okay with people hitting Paul McShane. I honestly believe that he's the worst footballer ever to play Premier League football. And that's an Irishman to an Irishman. He's horrendous. I don't think I've seen anybody worse play football.
He's no longer a Premier League footballer.
Well, every cloud, every cloud and all. But I think he's rubbish. In saying that, I don't think he should have his leg cut open the way Fellaini did. I know Fellaini's had a good season this year, but I've not really rated him, and I'd like to see him shown the exit door pretty quickly. Oh, jeez.
But whether that'll happen, I doubt it. Van Gaal seems to be getting the best out of him. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Chelsea wrapped it up.
Chelsea wrapped it up a couple of weeks ago.
Can I mention as well, with a little bit of glee, that Liverpool got absolutely tongued 6-1.
I've got that on my list. I wrote a couple of weeks ago for SportingMad that it's a shame that Gerrard's having such a sort of a lacklustre end to his Premier League career. I'm a Man United fan, and I love to see Liverpool struggle. Love to see Steven Gerrard struggle. That's what main topics of conversation as a Man United fan.
Why not?
There is a mutual respect there, and you would have liked to have seen him at least go out on some kind of high. But to lose his last game at Anfield last week, and then to get absolutely humiliated
by Stoke.
They were 5-0 down at half time.
That's good stuff.
And Gerrard got a goal to have the send off, but to lose 6-1.
I'm sure his $100 million contract in this stage will soften the blow.
Yeah, but
all right.
Leicester. I just want to mention quickly Leicester City's resurgence. That
they've done well.
8 weeks ago, they were bottom of the table.
Yeah, Pearson's done well. Didn't he get manager of the month?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, deserved.
And they finished 14th.
Yeah, deserved. I'll give you that. It's deserved.
But we'll move on.
Okay.
I think.
Tell me, 120 million. What would you do with 120 million bucks?
Yeah, it's the big question. The Norwich and Middlesbrough get to compete for the richest game in football. They call it.
So both ex-Premier League from the last 5. Middlesbrough quite a while. Norwich.
Middlesbrough 9 years ago. Norwich went down last year.
Jesus, has it been 9 years?
Yeah, it's been 9 years. Middlesbrough went out of the league or Premier League.
Okay,
not out of the league. But yeah, Norwich went down last year, so they're looking to bounce back.
Yeah,
pretty quickly. The other two already been up is Watford and Bournemouth.
Bournemouth's a good story. That guy's like 33 years old. He makes me. Yeah. Their manager makes me feel useless.
Travers went to school with him.
That makes me feel even worse. That makes me feel even worse. So who are we tipping for that game?
I'd like to see Borough, but I kind of got a sneaky feeling that Norwich will just pip them.
Borough will never be the same since Janino and Ravanelli.
No.
They'll just never be the same.
No, they won't.
Never be the same.
But they got relegated when they had Janino and Ravanelli. So.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You gloss over that.
They've got Karanka managing them, and he seems to be getting the best out of them. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they've got that kid from Chelsea on loan, Patrick Bamford, is it?
Okay.
I think he's the top scorer in the Championship this year, and Chelsea already looking at
just on the EPL quickly, just before we move on. It was a bit of a lacklustre kind of. Well, it was a tight season, but it wasn't. And Chelsea they led it for 250 days. Yeah. They were top of the league, so it was always going to go to them. The biggest story was who was going to finish fourth. Were United going to get back into that Champions League spot? Were Liverpool going to balls it up? Which inevitably they were, because that's what they've done for the last 20 years.
There was a brief blip of Man City as well.
And Arsenal came strong. Look, it was another predictable EPL season, and it's a shame because Tottenham didn't do anything. Everton haven't done anything.
Well, Everton struggled this year. Spurs. You know, I'd say they didn't do anything. They had, you know, Harry Kane as a story this season for Spurs, but they.
It's alright. Someone can buy him for 25 million and he can move on.
Yeah, I think yes. Look, Spurs should be more competitively challenging for that top 4 spot.
Yeah.
As I like the stories of Stoke finishing the highest in the.
Yeah, there is some good stories, but I just
Swansea, Southampton.
I crave for a Premier League that's just not as boring as it is. In saying that, I look across at Spain, which they say is like the best league in the world. There's only 2 teams, apart from Atletico Madrid, who won last season. Yeah. Only 2 teams ever win that.
But then Atletico won it last year, and then they just got pillaged.
Exactly. So it's just ridiculous. So
yeah,
you know, odd story that you brought to my attention before we went on was Klopp.
Well, there was rumours a couple of days ago that Brentford, Championship club Brentford,
used to live next door to the ground.
Yeah.
Solid ground.
Yeah.
One of those proper 2-tier tin sheds.
Yeah, they
love
got pub on every corner, is it?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good little ground.
There was rumours that the Klopp was going to end up at Brentford as the manager there is leaving after a disagreement with the chairman, just a mutual departure. They made the Championship playoffs but didn't get to the final.
Yeah.
And rumours, that the outgoing Dortmund boss Klopp could end up there. Now I don't know whether there's any truth in this. The rumours all started when a number of betting agencies slashed the odds to 3-1.
So we'll move on in a sec, but I will say that I heard the same rumour. However, Brendan Rodgers looks like he's properly screwed. You can't lose to Stoke 6-1 on the last day of the season. He's come out and said he's under pressure.
Yeah, but he also came
Klopp
out
is a ready-made
Yeah.
replacement. You drop him in and
yeah, and he'll bring in players. He's got the name. That's what Liverpool is struggling with now. Is not signing the big name players they need.
We're going to talk about it a bit in AFL, but the thing about Liverpool is they just don't have the cattle to get the job done. They're just not that good.
And that's the problem, is they're living off their past. And Brendan Rodgers, like, he made a comical
sorry about the camera, guys.
Comical press conference yesterday when he said that he felt that his team showed heart and passion in the second half to limit them to 6 goals.
Yeah,
that they were 5-0 down at half time. They came back and drew the second half 1-1.
Wow,
that's the attitude to have when you play Stoke.
Yeah,
no disrespect to Stoke, but teams like Liverpool should be going there and
pillaging them.
Well, not pillaging. Stoke are a hard team to beat, but comfortably beat.
You want to be a top 4 team.
Yeah.
All right,
Andy. We'll move on from the EPL. I think we've talked about it long enough.
Yeah.
AFL this weekend. It's a bit of a mixed bag.
I give up. I had the first 6 weeks dialed. Boom.
Yeah,
eight every week in the tips.
I'm catching you up now.
Yeah. Was on fire. Was just ripping through. Now it's gone.
Well, it's the likes.
The form's out the window.
Well, I don't think it's anyone like who'd have picked Melbourne to beat the Bulldogs.
I know. So for those who don't know AFL, quality sport. They've done 18 teams. They've done this year where they play 6, 6 and 6, and that's how the draw is done. The top 6 play each other twice as the middle and the bottom, so that it allows people to play teams of their own level. And it's probably skewed the draw for the first time in years, because a lot of teams have played supposedly easy teams.
Yeah,
other teams have played teams and really shown, like, so Fremantle and Sydney and Hawthorn, Port Adelaide, North Melbourne, they've all played each other, and the cream is rising to the crop. And Sydney, Fremantle, Hawthorn, Hawthorn, not doing great, but will be fine. North Melbourne, who I'm a supporter of, so many injuries, which isn't an excuse, but
it's up and down this year for you guys.
Yeah, we've lost 4 games. 3 of those games we've lost by over 10 goals, so you can't lose by that margin. So anyway, tips are out the window. GWS all the way. Get on board. Get behind them. Get around them. I guess one of the big stories in the AFL this week was Juddy.
Yeah.
Chris Judd from Carlton giving away his jersey. What do you reckon?
Well, it's not.
He's cooked.
It's not something you see often in the AFL.
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, it's big in the in the football, but only in the big matches in football. I remember one thing in just to go back to football in Alex Ferguson's autobiography. He said he never allowed any of his players to swap shirts because he said that shirt is not yours; it's Manchester United's shirt. Yeah,
but Ferguson, as great as he was also a ballback.
Yeah. But the comical thing about Chris Judd swapping his jersey, I found, was that they spent 5 minutes on the pitch trying to work out the GPS tracker, trying to get that out of the jersey, because they couldn't get it out.
So the story behind that is Cam Guthrie from Geelong is a lifelong Judd fan, and he was his hero growing up, and he always said, if I ever end up on the same pitch with him, I'm just going to ask him for his jersey. So we did. So Judd said, sure, and gave him his jersey. Now, with all the troubles going on at Carlton, you would say that Judd ain't going to play on next season unless there's a manager who drops in there that he's just going to fall in love with. But
it was a misguided, given their current troubles.
You would say he's done. Yeah. You would say he's done. The big game on the weekend was Hawks Sydney, and for anyone who saw it, it's probably been the game of the round or the game of the year so far. Maybe bar North Melbourne, Port Adelaide earlier in the year. This game was unbelievable. There was punches, there was aggression, there was style, there was everything. You know, Sydney came away with a 4-point win in the end. It was that good.
But it's those kind of games that make AFL an enjoyable sport, especially to expats coming here, not grown up with the game. That there's like I struggle with AFL sometimes because some of the matches are massive blowouts. Yeah. But this kind of game where you've got a tight game, 4 points from the edge of the seat to the end of the game, and it makes it worthwhile watching it. Yeah.
No. It had everything. It had Cyril Rioli was unbelievable. Dan Hanbury for Sydney was just on fire. Buddy and Kurt Tippett did bugger all except try and hit people. Yeah. Jared McVeigh was unbelievable again. You know, it was solid football. I can't talk about it highly enough. It's why you want to watch football. Yeah. On the other hand, I sat down on Saturday night with a beer in hand. I go, I'll watch North Melbourne. I don't think we're going to do particularly well. We're missing four to five key midfielders against probably the best midfield in the competition. I was excited, a little bit excited. But they've gone. Fremantle's won 7-0. Yeah. No, this could be the one. We could get them on a little bit of an upset. That's it. 14 seconds in, whatever it was, and Fremantle kicked a goal. It wasn't really the start we were looking for. No. 25 seconds in, there were 2 goals up. A minute, there were 3 goals up. I went, I reckon I've probably got most of the rest of my night free. Yeah. And it turns out they got absolutely pummeled. Yeah. Special mention to Nat Fyfe, although this guy's.
He's 23 years old and has played 100 games.
Yeah, forget about it. Just don't put any more money. Don't put any money on the Brownlow. He's already got it. Yeah. He's got it. I can't see anyone else winning it. Although he wasn't the best player on the pitch. He got 37 disposals, which is just a ridiculous figure. It's massive for anyone else. For him, it's probably about average these days. He's doing fine. Walters was good. Mundy was good. They were all good. Adam Goldstein is the best ruckman in the competition at the moment, arguably, and he's playing against a 7-foot giant. Yeah. You just can't do anything. You need a bloody stepladder to beat him. It's just ridiculous. So, Nat Fyfe, a special mention. And look, I'll just say it quickly because if you listen to other podcasts, which I'm sure you do, and you watch other videos, and everyone out there does, you can't go past Mick Malthouse and Carlton. It's just been a shambles from start to finish. The way that they seem to be managing their club, I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. I know, silly. It's silly.
One of the directors or chief executive or someone came out over the weekend and said that they're looking at alternatives to Mick Malthouse, and Mick Malthouse has come out and said, "I'm here until I no longer want to be here."
Well, I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to walk away either, because I think if he walks away, he gets $1 million. Yeah. So they can't afford to sack him, and he's not going to leave until they sack him. Yeah. So either he's going to see out his contract, get his $1 million either way. Yeah. And I'm okay with Mick Malthouse. He's coached long enough in the game to warrant a bit of money.
He's been around the traps. Yeah.
He's done. So I just think Carlton's a shambles. But then every year, round 6, round 7, every year there's something. Something that comes up in the papers, and this is it this year, and it's who cares. Okay, moving on. We don't want to keep you for too much longer, guys. Super Rugby. Aussies had a mixed week, I suppose.
Yeah, Tars a good win against Crusaders in a rematch of last year's final.
Yeah, solid. Bernard Foley with he beat them last year with the boot, and this year this game last weekend he just little drop pass, kick through, chased it down.
Yeah, it's pretty. It was a good match. It
was a lot of All Blacks versus a lot of Wallabies. Yeah, which can only be good because let's be honest, the Wallabies have been horrendous. They're not a good rugby team.
I'm holding on to that for the World Cup.
Yeah, we'll all hold on to it. We'll all hold on to the fact that the Kiwis just will bull something up and play the French in the semi-finals and lose.
Yeah, probably.
That'll do. So the Crusaders not going to make the final for the first time in 13 years.
Yeah, that's the big news. And I said it at the start of the season. My wife's a Crusaders fan, and I said that they've been over reliant on the old guard, Richie McCaw, Dan Carter for too long.
Dan Carter's only played about 7 games in the last 5 years. Yeah. He's got hamstrings worse than mine. He made a paper mache.
Yeah, but it just hasn't given the youngsters an opportunity to come through. That if Dan's fit, he's automatically in the team, and it's
Yeah.
that can't do anything for your confidence. You're playing well, and then Dan Carter pops up a fancy playing this week, and and I've said it there. That's where the All Blacks will be let down in the World Cup, is if they take Richie and Dan and the old guard and don't have a backup. Good look at the last World Cup that when they won the World Cup at home. But they might, like, how many fly halves did they go
4, 5. There was guys off fishing boats. There was guys who thought it was a joke. All right, tell me. So obviously we're in Melbourne. I said that at the start. We're both on the Rebels.
Yes,
we've been there since the start. They had a bit of a loss in South Africa over to the Stormers the weekend. We won't talk about that.
To be expected.
To be expected. Nobody wins that first game when they land in South Africa. It just doesn't happen. That's okay. However, there was a clown that once played for Melbourne Rebels in James O'Connor.
James O'Connor.
And I don't know if you've seen the footage. I think we've posted it on the Twitter account. If not, we'll do it after this. Or you'll see it by the time you watch this, if anybody does.
Yeah. Just you can just YouTube it, James O'Connor.
For those who haven't seen it, give it a.
It's terrible. I never used to mind James O'Connor, but he had his problems off the field, and he just turned out that he's a bit of an idiot.
So for those who haven't seen it, he's basically kicked the ball.
The Reds have got a bit of a maul at the 5 metre line. They clear it back to James O'Connor just to kick for touch. That's all he needs to do is kick for touch, and he scuffs the kick into the waiting arms of a
guy who's got a calf injury and couldn't actually stand. He wasn't moving. He could only stand in one place because his leg had given in, and O'Connor's kicked the ball straight to him, and he's hobbled over the line.
Yeah, he just fell over the line.
Hats off to you, James O'Connor.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing that we don't always talk about because we're in Melbourne, and people down here care, but only care a little bit.
It's a good segue from proper rugby into pretend.
Yeah, no, look, I don't know if I'm going to go down that road with you.
But no, NRL, big up in New South Wales, Queensland.
Not so much down here, except for the Melbourne Storm. So
it's not big down here until the Storm get into the finals. Then all of a sudden they sound like 30
jersey on, off we go.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's a like diehard member then, and knows the NRL rules.
So State of Origin this Wednesday.
Yep.
In Sydney.
Mm.
Queensland versus New South Wales. New South Wales have a lot of guys missing, so Gallen and the likes. Queensland, as always, say that all of their players are injured in some way or another, and they all come off their deathbeds.
Yeah.
On the day. Did we care who wins this one until the game comes to Melbourne next week?
I don't think anyone.
Sorry, NRL fans out there, but we honestly don't care
until it's in MCG. First time Origin match, and we played the MCG, and I think for all the guys up in New South Wales and Queensland, I think there'll still be 100,000 sellout, and we'll show.
Of course we will.
Melbourne will show that we're
going to sport.
We may not care.
No, I just don't understand.
If there's a bandwagon, we're on it.
I just don't understand a sport. And I know that this causes havoc everywhere, and I listen to the radio all the time. There's talkback and all these guys. How can 3 games a year, where you play for one of 2 states, it just shows the small-mindedness of the game. I think I don't know. You can only play. There's 3 games a year that are the most important games of the year for all these players. So they don't care about international playing for Australia.
No.
And they don't care. They care, but they don't usually care about playing for their league team. And Craig Bellamy, the coach of the Storm, has come out here and goes, if my guys get injured, the guys get injured. It's bloody ridiculous. If that was in EPL, there'd be a lawsuit.
Yeah,
I find it ludicrous.
The players come out. Origin is the pinnacle, but just on Origin and just touching back on what you were on. Do you think they should bring back AFL, State of Origin, now that it's in every state?
No, I don't.
No?
Nah, the players don't give a rat's ass about it. The supporters don't give a rat's ass about it, except for those guys who come on talkback, who just want to have a yarn to somebody because they're in their 70s and they miss the big V.
Yeah.
And they miss the big V, and they just want the V.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Nobody gives a crap about it. The players don't care. They're playing international rules, which they don't care about. They're only playing it because they're all being scouted a trip to New York this year to play in it, or Boston or New York to play in the next game.
Wow.
That's why they all played last year. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. And look, I want to see Ireland. I like watching Ireland play international rules, but nobody gives a crap.
No.
Even it's a holiday.
Yeah,
it's a holiday. American sports, not usually your thing.
No.
But I just wanted to say a little bit. We said it at the top of the show. We've got Dellavedova and Bowie playing for Cavaliers and Golden State Warriors, respectively. Dellavedova's got a little bit more court time this time because Kyrie Irving is injured. I've watched him the last couple of games in this series against the Horse. He's playing beautifully.
Yep.
He's just playing beautifully, and he's doing everything he needs to do, and he needs to keep going. The players seem to love him. The fans love him. The opposition players want to kill him.
Yeah, he's.
But that's okay. That's what you want. You want that guy on your team.
He's been a bit aggressive, and they don't like it.
Exactly.
And, I saw the Bulls. They took exception, and then.
He got elbowed today.
Well, today, that was Al Hartford
out of the game. And, dropped an elbow.
Well,
WWE move is what it was. Bam.
I know, Dellavedova was getting tangled up, and he got cited as well.
Yeah, he got a technical foul, but nobody knows why. There's a commentator in the States, Bill O'Reilly, was saying he should have been thrown out of the game for trying to break the guy's ankles and break his knee. And if you watch the game, he fell over. Bill O'Reilly, probably too old to be watching basketball anymore. He should just bugger off.
But Al Horford just dropped the elbow. Like it was.
It was good. It was solid, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad. If you're watching Aussie rules, it was nothing. It was a tap.
But in a non-contact sport of basketball, it's
true. True. Bogut, just quickly, Bogut over at the Golden State Warriors doing brilliantly. He's just a huge guy. They all love him. He's doing well, and he's stayed injury-free for most of this year. The best thing about him, though, is that he's playing with Steph Curry. Now, for those who like basketball, Steph Curry is your new Michael Jordan. I'm putting it, he's broken every record. He's tied Jordan for records this week for playoff points. He's averaging about 30 minutes a game, which is ludicrous because they play so often. He's averaging almost 30 points a game, 29 points something. He's got the records for threes. There's a video out there online. We'll see if I can find it and post it out of him hitting 93 free throws in practice. 93 3-pointers in a row. Doesn't miss.
Yeah, that's not.
He's just ludicrous. The guy's unbelievable. He's the next Hall of Fame player, and he's making a lot of.
Was he MVP this year?
He was MVP. He's making a lot of really good players look really, really stupid.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
There's a thing about Steph Curry, about Nike. They were looking for their next Michael Jordan to do their signature shoe, and they offered him what he felt was a derogatory offer, and it was probably hundreds of billions of dollars or something. But it wasn't as much as some of the other big players are getting.
Yeah.
So he turned it down. He's gone over to is it Under Armour or New Balance, one of those sort of smaller ones.
Yeah.
And has designed his own shoe, and it's
gone.
Yeah, it's creating records in the States. He's making he wasn't as massive as an upfront paycheck, but he's just taking a slice of every pair of shoes he sells. So.
Hats off. Hats off to Steph Curry. Yeah, in saying that, what you said there is a derogatory offer from Nike. He probably got offered $150 million.
Yeah, that's what he felt. That's what I'm saying.
Stop being selfish, Steph.
Yeah.
Selfish. Look, I don't want to talk too much more basketball, except one last thing. If you're a Knicks fan, you've had a crappy season. It's gotten worse. You couldn't even finish last. You got fourth pick. You needed number one pick, and you've gone and won some games at the end. You've missed out in the NBA lottery, the draft lottery, if anyone knows how that works. And you've basically balls it up. Phil Jackson, who's one of the greatest players to play for the New York Knicks, and also coaches with, I don't know, has he got 11? We'll say 11. Could be wrong. 11 titles across a couple of teams. Is back as a president, and he ain't getting any better. I don't think that's going to be a good thing. Okay, very, very quickly. We'll just talk about two things that we saw that were funny during the week.
Yes. What was it? Brent Griffiths became the first player to get sent off in a football match, for tackling barbecue sauce bottle.
He did.
We put this on the website, on our Facebook and our Twitter, and if you haven't seen it, just head over there. Brent Griffiths, Central Coast Mariners, testimonial match for one of their legends, and
he tackled an inflatable barbecue sauce bottle,
clean through on goal, 1-on-1 with the keeper, and Brent Griffiths just comes in, two-footed late tackle.
For those that are listening to this on the podcast, you need to go watch it, because it doesn't really make sense when we say there was an 8-foot barbecue sauce bottle running through on goal, 1-on-1 with a keeper. Go have a look, but solid tackle. Shouldn't have been a red.
It was solid.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong.
Well, he was last defender.
Doesn't matter. He got the ball. I didn't know if he got the ball or not.
No. He got most of the. I would say most of the player, but
most of the barbecue bottle.
But they, apparently afterwards, it's come out there's a bit of a story behind it that some of his teammates were in training a couple of weeks have covered him in barbecue sauce, and that's where some of the joke was.
Right.
That's why there was a barbecue sauce bottle playing football on the pitch. It wasn't just.
Okay. All right. Very very quickly. Snoop Dogg, if you like your rap, man's a clown. Everyone seems to love him. He's put a Norwich shirt on. He said, "I want Norwich to win." Everyone went, "Wow, how good is?" Okay, slight technical issue there, but we're back.
We're back.
So Snoop Dogg, what I was saying is that the man's a clown. We've got about 2 minutes to finish this off.
Just be careful, you might pop a cap. Where?
Mate, we live in suburban Melbourne. It's unlikely.
Okay.
You know, you're more likely to get a man with a beard selling you a burger with no socks. You know, and some brogues.
When have you ever had a burger with socks?
You haven't been in Northcote long enough. So Snoop Dogg was caught in a concert in Norwich wearing a Norwich jersey, saying he's a Norwich fan. What we put up on the website and on Facebook, or not on the website, on social media, was him in every other jersey known to man.
Yeah,
he's just an idiot.
I think he just does it. He does it for the cheap pops when he gets to the when he gets his concert in a
it's the equivalent of the people putting the flag on, isn't it? Yeah. The old days where Oasis or Coldplay, someone will walk out, and the old days, Oasis, Jesus,
yeah, I know.
Putting a flag on, and everyone will go,
yeah, and that's what he does. He just gets the pops for when a football jersey from the town.
Yeah,
and people love it because all the fans posting it all over things. Snoop Dogg's a legend and
idiot. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Finish off our first Sports Cooler episode, which had some technical problems, but not that many. Could have been worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been worse. And I'll be sending this off to someone now to see if they can fix it. They're going to be really upset with me for not doing it properly the first time. Well, and hopefully this gets to YouTube tonight in one piece.
If our producer was here, then wouldn't have had these issues. So it's
Look,
her own fault.
I told her she lives in the country. She needs a bloody helicopter. We're not paying for it.
No.
All right. What are you looking forward to in the upcoming week?
I think you can't look past the FA Cup final on Saturday night.
Does anybody care if Arsenal or Aston Villa wins the FA Cup?
It's the FA Cup final. It's
still in there, still ingrained in there.
It's still ingrained in there, and I'm glad that this year they've finally seen sense and have had it on its own day. Previously, they've had it.
There was games on, wasn't there?
Yeah, they've had it with Premier League games on, and I'm finally glad that they've given it. It's the pinnacle of the English season now, and that's it. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's probably going to be a dour affair, 2-1 Arsenal, but
it's all right. Look, I'll give. Sherwood's got Aston Villa back up and going. Benteke's found some form. He knows how to get the best out of strikers who basically want to leave and can't do anything. He did the same with Adebayor. We'll see how he goes. All right, so here's the FA Cup.
What about you?
I'm coming back to Melbourne. GWS versus the Doggies on the weekend. What day? I cannot remember. Two young teams. Doggies haven't had a great 2 weeks. Huge start to the season. Don't know if they've gotten too tired or not. But this game has got everything for it. You've got Bontempelli, you've got Cameron, you've got everyone. It's just there. They're both playing some of the fastest, hardest footy, and it's just going to be a rip of a game. So that's me.
Predictions?
Oh, on form alone, it would be hard to look past GWS, but I don't know. It could go either way. The Doggies are due to bounce back. Yeah. We'll see what they're made of.
Close game, or do you think it'll be blowout?
No. I don't know why I'm really gunning for GWS at the moment. I really like what they're doing. Although I do like what the Dogs are doing because they're getting the fans back on board and those kids are good, and Luke Beveridge has come in and really turned them around. And Rob Murphy, who I watch on TV all the time here and writes really well, just seems like an awesome guy.
Yep.
And I really want him to do well. He hasn't, he's had a tough couple of years. We'll see how we go, but I reckon it's GWS probably by a couple of goals.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, my tips are ruined again for another week. All right, James. That was our first Sports Cooler thingy.
Video podcast.
Thingy.
Just the two of us. The other guys are...
Well, they're gone.
They're gone.
Laziness.
They might watch it, so we should say thank you.
Nah. Sin. Yeah, no, we'll see him later, don't worry.
Yeah.
Look, you're out of focus.
Sorry.
There you go. Alright, so we're going to go, but thank you very much for watching. We're going to get better at this.
We will.
We'll be bloody better. Otherwise, it's going to be not so great.
Diabolical. But
we'll get better at it. Follow us on social media, on Twitter.
On Twitter, which is at SportingMadAU, and on the Facebook, which is SportingMadAU.
No, just SportingMad.
Just SportingMad.
And then, obviously, the website, which is sportingmad.com.au. Alright, guys. have a good week in sports. Have a good week. Let's hope the work week's not too crap. And we'll hopefully be back to you to talk next week. It might be Tuesday next week because somebody might be slightly hungover. And it's not me. So have a good week, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
Catch up.